start. And so, um, we're going to talk about meaning and purpose. Now, what meaning and purpose means is existential dread, because none of us knows what that feels like, right? Yeah. Um, Absurdity, and really the core of what keeps you here. Um, and so, I mean, rather than go into an explanation about this, because I'll say this: I know the meaning of life. Do you want to know what the meaning of life is?
Oh,
Yes.
this is a big moment right here. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So here you go. And by the way, this has been determined by leading philosophers year after year after year. They have a big symposium. All the big philosophers get together in a big meeting, and they ask that quote, "What's the meaning of life?" And they come to the same conclusion every year. So here you go. The meaning of life is this: life just is, and
Hmm.
that's it. And that disappoints you because when you think about that, here's why. Life is an infinite variation in the same way that people portray a god or a deity or whatever, limitless. Life itself is limitless. Life can take virtually any form from one end of the spectrum to the other. So to give that meaning contains it, thus making it not limitless. And so the question that you want the answer to in searching for the meaning of life is not what the meaning of life itself is, but rather what your purpose is. Because
Hmm.
we all seek purpose. You go through life and you get to a point in your life where you turn to somebody, a sibling, a father, a priest, a religious leader, a god, and you ask that question. And the question is this all that I am? Is this all there is? Is there nothing more? And what am I supposed to be? You ask that. That's the purpose question. And that's the answer everyone wants. It's not about what life means, because life's meaning is an infinite permutation of possibilities. But the purpose that you yourself hold, that's the thing that everyone chases after. And so that leads to the first question in meaning and purpose from an intersectional perspective. And I'm going to ask Brandon this question first.
Oh, no.
Um, what's the thing that keeps you up awake at 3 a.m. in the morning? And if you need help, um,
No, I've got an answer.
oh, okay, we're going to answer. Okay, great.
My cats. I have a black cat that's very whiny, and he will wake me up whenever. Oh, that's not the answer you wanted.
I thought that was a
So,
great answer.
yeah, I
No,
mean, it's true.
well, no. I'm talking about from an existential perspective.
Oh, well,
And
all
so
right.
so here's the nudge for that question. That question is, I I fought so hard to be myself, and now for what?
Or what?
Yes, for what? So when you wake up in the middle of the night, what is that? What is the answer to that? What's that question that keeps you up?
Um, I guess. Well, I would say to make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah. But that keeps you up at night?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if anything really keeps me up at night. I mean, I'm I'm pretty good at letting go of something and then picking it up later. It's like, well, I'm not going to solve this now. So let's just put that let's just put that in this little basket over here and we'll just pick that up later.
Right.
I I don't have I don't hold on to a lot of anxiety for the most part. I think I'm pretty even keeled. Um, I suppose some things affect me, but I'm usually pretty good at compartmentalizing or, like I said, just kind of putting it to the side, at least temporarily.
Right.
Um, I do sometimes I do think about like if I'm ever going to find a partner that I'm going to, be happy with and live the rest of my life with, that kind of thing. But again, that's something that's like, well, I can't do anything about that right now. And so, you know, think about that later.
Right.
I don't know. Did that
No,
answer the question?
that's an answer. I mean, I Yanni, Julie and Yanni both they agree with you. Miranda.
Oh, um, like I feel like my life has always been a fight. Um,
You're gonna love the next question, by the way, then.
oh, good. So like, I had to spend a long time like fighting God about who I was and um finally got to a point where it was like, well, I'm gonna be who I am no matter who approves or not. Um, but like you can't just like that sounds like great for all the slogans and everything. Um, but we live in a social world and so um, it feels like, well, now I'm being me, but there's the fighting for recognition that I'm who I am, fighting for respect, fighting for, um, I mean, there's like the whole fighting for rights in a political sense, but like that's that's like an activity I do, because I have to, um, because that's what queer people have to do. We have to fight for our rights, but like the more important fight for me is the fight to be recognized for who I am by the people around me. And um, there's a whole like spectrum of like how close people are to that. Um, my wife, my kids, they see me as who I really am. The rest of my family, it's mixed results. Um, my friends, it's mixed results, even among the ones who call themselves allies. Because it's like, I have conversations with people that um, make it clear to me, even though it's not like an intentional slight that they're trying to like hurt me in any way, but like it's clear that when talking to or about me, they have to go through this whole translation process. And, I don't know how to show them that they don't need to do that. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah. So here's the thing that keeps me up at night. When I wake up at 3 in the morning and I ask myself the question, and that question is, I fear that I transitioned into a void. So before I transitioned, I was suicidal. I was ready to unalive myself and I was ready to just leave. And in my faith, leaving in that way precludes you from taking the long walk, which means it's an empty void. And so I think about that. I burned my old life down. There were family members that I lost, friendships that I lost. Um, and I sacrificed career safety. You know, I was a white privileged male. I gave all that up.
Yeah.
Um, and at the end of it, I started my transition and I came out on the other side, and the void is still there. It's not as vast and empty, but there's not some grand narrative that finally says, this is it.
Yeah.
There's just more work that I have to do. And so, initially, authenticity didn't fix the emptiness that I had. I had to find a purpose. And so, as with Brandon, mothering people, that was my thing.
Yeah.
And standing in for people that didn't have a parent because they were a queer person or a trans person, or they had an abusive parent and they didn't have anybody. And the emptiness that I was feeling even in my transition went away. Didn't go totally away, because I still wake up at night and I still ask myself that question. But am I happier because of it? I it is a psychological fact that trans persons, queer persons, feel existential dread more than any other strata of people currently. And that's not just because of the political situation, but it's because of the social and societal change.
I do think about regret a lot. I mean, it doesn't keep me up at night, but that is a kind of recurring theme. Regret or what ifs. What if I would have stayed in this certain path or this lifestyle or whatever direction? Would I have been better off than I am now? It's hard not to think about that, about regret and the what ifs.
Yeah. So that leads to the next question in the narrative, and I'm going to ask Miranda first.
Oh, good.
So, Brandon, you have time.
Take a break, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have time. And that question is, for years, for me personally, and I'm not going to answer my own question until you two answer it, but here's the setup. Maybe just surviving felt like enough. So the question then becomes, you've been in survival mode for so long that it almost becomes a part of your identity.
Yeah.
And it becomes a framework for existence. And so, but now that you've made it, or you're on the road to making it, what the hell do you do with it? Survival isn't purpose, but it's not nothing, and it's something. And what is that? That's the question.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, like you were talking about a minute ago, mothering other queer people who don't have their original mother figure in their life or whatever. And I think that, like I do a lot of the same thing where, um, I don't need to be in survival mode on a day-to-day basis as much. So, um, it's important to me to like help other people who are stuck in that space and help them survive, but also realize that like they can step out of that onto the next thing too. Um, so, which like that sounds all noble and stuff. I'm not trying to brag on myself, but like the flip side of that is that then I worry and I judge myself on whether I'm doing enough. So, like, is there somebody I could have saved that I didn't save? Is there, you know, a conversation that um, didn't go according to the script in my head? So does that mean that I did it wrong? Did I, you know, am I unintentionally hurting people that I want to be giving comfort to? Um, so it's hard for me to um, not have those kinds of thoughts and not put that pressure on myself. Um, yeah.
So, you need more time, Brandon, because I have a follow up to that.
Oh, I mean, thinking about survival mode, I feel like I'm kind of living in that, being where I am, being in the rural conservative Midwest. I and with my family and everything, I always have to think about when I'm going out somewhere or whatever, where I'll be going and who might be there and what I will decide to wear or look like, if I'll wear earrings or some makeup or whatever, or avoid all of that kind of thing. So I guess that's ongoing, where I am. And I also, this kind of goes back to the previous question, I guess. I thought about the other day about my role, and I know a lot of people would probably say, why don't you move? Move to a more uh, accepting place, or urban, bigger city, that kind of thing. And I do still have a connection with my family, my nieces and nephews, and everything, even if they don't, not all of them accept me as I am completely. But I also think about, maybe I need to be here. And
Yeah.
because if you think about, like, every queer person who's in a rural or conservative area, if they all moved out of that and went to the cities or whatever, what
It
would
just creates a
happen?
vacuum.
Right. What would happen in that little town, in that conservative area? They would have no diverse. They would never see anyone that's like me, or have any kind of diversity, or any exposure to any of that. And I think, I don't know, maybe I need I need to be in this area. I need to be seen in this type of community, and they need to see me, or someone like me.
So not being in survival mode for me was like learning to walk again. I very early in my transition, I was a very vocal person about my opinions and my hatred and my anger. And I was very, very communicative about it. And people would ask me, my friend Shay would ask me, why do you hold on to that anger? Why do you hold on to that pain? And the answer to that question is because it keeps me alive. It keeps me in one piece. And it reminds me that I'm human. Um, because when you live in a world where people are dehumanizing me and Miranda and Brandon and people like us, it's easy to fall into a pattern where I have to fall into survival mode to remind myself that I am a human being and I have a right to live and I have a right to exist. But outside of that, no, it's just emotion. Now, that emotion feels good. And when I have that emotion, when I'm lying next to the woman I love, or my kids are here, or I see Gizmo, or whatever, that makes the survival mode instinct just go away. For myself personally, it might shift, because I'm worried about her, or I'm worried about my kids, Gizmo, Charlie, Alexander. That's survival, pseudo survival, I guess, but that's still just emotion, and that emotion feels good. And it reminds me that I'm not always in survival mode, that I'm not always constantly in panic mode. Um, I went to work. Well, this leads into the next question, and so I'll even lead into it, and then one of you can decide who's going to take it next. And the question is, um, what is the absurdity of building a life in a world that wants us all to be gone? And so I'm going to actually ask you this question. So I schedule an appointment to go and see my doctor to discuss my gender affirming care, or I schedule an appointment for electrolysis, which I'm actually going to do because I'm working again finally. And I I live in a world where there are a large body of individuals that think that I'm a terrorist. And because I'm autistic, they think I'm a national security risk or whatever else because of what the orange ass goblin says every so often. And so, that when I walk out of my house, am I in that mode where the absurdity of what I'm doing, puts me into that mode where am I protecting myself? I literally don't care. When I walk out of my house and I'm dressed, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. But the question, Brandon, is this. So when you walk out of your house or you go to the grocery store, is it obvious to the outside world who you are? And if it is, do you care? And why do you care?
I don't know how obvious it is. I mean, I don't dress in rainbows and unicorns or anything, and
Right.
everywhere I go. But
Well, that's your loss.
I I actually don't have a lot of clothing with rainbows, really. But I mean,
Do you have a pride shirt? If you don't have a pride shirt, I'm buying you one.
I have a I have a tank top that says "Kiss me, bro" in rainbow letters. So I mean, I think that's pretty obvious.
Have you ever
But
worn it out of the house?
to pride events. I haven't worn it in like in public, a regular setting, I guess. But
I have a shirt that I want to wear in public, but my partner will not let me wear it in public. And
well,
and the reason, and it's a very queer shirt, but my partner does not support me wearing that shirt in public because the shirt says Jesus ate my butthole.
oh boy.
So
Now I feel like I let's see what I had a thought, and now it's uh, I don't know. I can't find it.
it'll come
It's
back.
somewhere. It's somewhere over here. But oh shoot, what it was something terribly important and profound. Oh, I know one thing I was going to say. I feel like my role partly the absurdity. That's what it was. You were talking about the absurdity of living a life in a place where people hate you and that kind of thing. And I feel like I kind of answered part of that in my last answer, because maybe my role here is to expose people to um part of the queer community, at least. And I kind of feel like my role on Substack, since that's where we are right now, is exposing other people to my own life and humor and showing people that aren't part of the community that we're like you. You can laugh at my jokes. That you don't have to be queer to read my stuff and to laugh at my stuff,
Right.
And I can put out these cooking videos, and eating my recipes isn't going to make you gay. And it's you can be entertained, and I'll put out stuff about everyone's. Some of my stuff is serious. I'll write an article about. I wrote one about Matthew Shepard, and I haven't published it yet, but we were talking about it. I talked about it a couple days ago on video, and I want people that don't know about these things. I want to expose them to that and make them aware, that it didn't just happen. It happened years ago, but it's kind of going back that way. So people need to be aware that this could happen again. I don't know. I feel like I need to call people to action in some ways.
Yeah.
That's not my forte. I'm not a presenter of the news and current events, but other people are, and that's their role. But I'm more on the entertainment side, but I do, expose part of my life and show you what it's like for me living in a rural area and growing up gay. And so I don't think it's absurd to live as I am in a place where I might not be as accepted. There are some times I go out and I don't care. It just depends on. Sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling that day. It's not maybe not necessarily about the place I'm going or who I'll see, but just how I'm feeling that day, how much
Like,
confidence I might have.
do your neighbors know that you're gay?
I don't even know. My nearest neighbor is like a quarter of a mile away at least, and
Oh, okay.
I I have a couple relatives that live the closest to me, and I don't ever talk to them about it. Well, okay, so one of my relatives, his daughter is a lesbian,
Right.
and I don't talk to him about it really. I mean, just because it doesn't come up in regular conversation, But I don't hide the fact, because I know how he feels about his daughter. He loves her and accepts her, and
Right.
so I'm not worried about that. But some of my other family members, I don't bring it up. And if I were going to like a pride event or something like that, my my relative who has the daughter that's gay, I wouldn't mind telling him where, yeah, I just got back from pride, or I'm headed there or whatever. I wouldn't mind saying that to him, but I would avoid saying that to other members of my family,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I guess in some ways that that point is moot, because my neighbors, that I don't even know some of my neighbors that, because they live too far away anyway.
All right, Miranda.
All right. What was the question again?
The absurdity.
The absurdity of doing things, when the rest of the world wants you dead.
Yeah. So, like,
And I'm going to step away for a minute. You keep talking.
oh, you're just gonna ignore me, but you want me to keep talking? I know that you're not.
I'm still here, El Guapo.
Oh, hi, Brandon's cat.
Yes, Zoe. She decides she wants to
Yeah,
be on
so
video.
back on the topic of absurdity. One of there are a lot of like social contradictions that trans women have to face. Like, on one hand, you'll have people who um, insist that I'm just cross dressing, right? And they'll
Oh,
say
yeah.
things like, putting on women's clothes doesn't make you a woman. Putting on makeup doesn't make you a woman. But, um, you know, if I wear something that's more mask coded, or I don't do at least like a minimum amount of makeup, then, they're going to flip over to the you're not even trying. Um,
Right.
if you're a real woman, then you need to put some effort into it. And and I know that uh, bigotry has its absurdities. That like it's going to contradict itself because the point isn't for them to prove something against me. It's just for them to be against me. Um, so like on Saturday, um, Carolyn and I went shopping um, at an outlet mall in one of the suburbs. So the suburbs tend to be, more conservative than the city. Um, and the particular suburb we went to um, is has a reputation for being very right wing, very like Christian nationalist kind of right wing. Um, and I hadn't shaved in several days because she was planning to um, wax my facial hair for me.
Hmm.
Um, so I had this conflict with myself before we left of like, well, do I give up on this round of waxing so that I can shave and present more femme? Um, or do I just say, like, fuck it, and people can think what they want about me because, they're going to anyway. um, so I went with the latter choice. Like I put on some makeup, but it didn't really cover all the hairs poking out. And, you know, while we were out at the outlet mall, I got some looks, some definitely unfriendly kinds of looks. But you know, I just reminded myself of like the absurdity isn't me going through this process that they don't understand. Um, the absurdity really is like their obsession with policing how other people live. And and it's always nice to have my wife there to stare down bigots for me, so I don't have to to do all of that myself. So I know I'm fortunate in that sense. Um, yeah. So
Did I answer the question already?
I don't know. You just left us for so long. We were sad and lonely.
Oh, right. Well, I see that's the thing. The reason that which will lead into the final question of the narrative is, you know, I experience a tremendous amount of transphobia, even here, and I live in a city that is known for being supportive or whatever. But I was on the train coming home from work the other day, and I got bagged a couple of times, and I got ugly looks, and you know, and so there are times I think, oh, why am I even trying to do this if it's always going to be like this? And the answer to that question actually leads into the final question, which I will answer. What keeps you here? And for me, there's two answers to that question. One, curiosity, insatiable curiosity. Uh, I want to see what how I will change, and how I will look, and how I will behave over time. That curiosity gives me joy. So it's not just joy of my kids, joy of my spousal person, joy of, you know, watching other people experience joy. That does give me joy. But the thing that keeps me here is insatiable curiosity.
Now,
And
when you,
oh, what?
I was just going to clarify. When you say keeps me here, are you saying here as in on this earth alive, or here as in where you're living? Okay.
No, yeah. The thing that keeps me still
Going.
a functioning human being
Okay. I just wanted to
is
clarify.
curiosity. And the reason for that is that when I satisfy my curiosity, I experience more joy as a result of that curiosity than I do disappointment. Now, before I transitioned, and before I did a lot of things, that curiosity was constant disappointment, and that disappointment built up and built up and built up until finally it was like, if I keep opening the box that has Schrodinger's cat in it and there's nothing there, then that's it. I'm gonna. And so what I learned was, it's not what's in the box. You shouldn't care what's in there. You should care about what's outside of the box. Yeah, that curiosity is the thing that keeps me going. Brandon.
What keeps me here?
Right.
I guess that I want to enjoy life, you know?
Yeah.
I want to experience things, and I want to meet people to experience them with me.
We have such delights to show you. Sorry, I don't have pins all over my face, so it's not as fun.
Oh yes, yes. I guess that's the main thing, but also kind of going back to what I feel is my purpose, I think if you have a purpose, my cat, um, when you have a purpose, that kind of keeps you going too. I mean, if you didn't have a purpose, then it would probably be much more difficult to keep going. If you didn't feel like you had a reason to be here or had a goal with your life, and I feel like I do.
Well, you're doing better than most people, Brandon. I will tell you that, Miranda.
Oh, well, I'm here to hold Lizzie. That's my
Yeah,
primary
well,
thing.
that seems to be my purpose as
Can
well,
I,
at least according
um,
to her.
yeah. So, like for me, there's a huge difference pre-transition versus post-transition on how much I want to be here. Um, because before, like, there were times when I had active ideation and planning and all those sorts of things. But for the most part, I just had extended passive suicidal ideation. So, I would go to bed and be like, doesn't fucking matter if I wake up. Or, I would have, um, be driving and have like a close call on the highway or something and be like, well, maybe I should have just done that. Maybe I shouldn't have, taken evasive action for the assholes that thing in and out of traffic um, and like, not that I have suddenly become like a super healthy eater, but like I ate very unhealthy foods that weren't nearly gay enough. Um, and, um, didn't care about how I treated my body. Um, but now I just have like an intrinsic want to be here. I want to be here.
I think it is important for all people to want to participate. However large that participation is, this much, that much, whatever. But as long as you have that participation, whatever the fuck it is, that's the thing that does it. That's the thing that encourages it. Um, and so, and then ultimately the effect that you can have on other people. If you have a positive effect on people, then, and for me, that goes back to curiosity. Is if I continue to have this effect on people, that I want to see what that effect does.
Yeah.
Um, am I happy to have somebody to do this with? Yes. Yes, definitely. Um, there are some occasions I wish I had not played trans lesbian Olympics with her for as long as I did. But there are people that I had relationships with that I wished I did not have relationships with. I wouldn't have some of the issues I have had. So for me, as long as you show up, however the fuck much that is, that's the thing that keeps you coming. Yeah.
It is a lot more rewarding when we can see the results of the effect that we have on people, which doesn't always happen. I mean, you affect everyone in your life, everybody you come in contact with, but you don't always see the results of that. And it's definitely rewarding when you do get to see it.
Yeah, that's the God thing, though, right? Does God really pay? If God even exists, does God really pay attention to what God's own creation has turned into? And how often does he just fuck?
Yeah, probably a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of that, yeah.
Well, God damn it.
Oh, these humans are a mess. I'm gonna go watch one of my other planets.
Yeah.
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 Oops.
Yeah, I have to agree with Yanni. What did Carlin call God? An absentee an absentee.
Yeah. Yeah, we're over here with like a dripping sink, wondering where he's at.
Well, isn't that's what deism, the scientists' religion, which is basically deists believe that God created the earth and then just left it and doesn't interact with it or have anything to do with it. Just created it and walked the fuck away. Did you read the story from last night, by the way, Miranda? You say that so rogue.
Oh, no, not yet.
So yesterday's queer space story an ongoing series, and that series is Kira Aubrey DMing a D&D game session in the bar, and I flipped a coin on who was going to play the thiefy rogue person, and it was between you and Rami, and you lost. So, um, Morgan. I believe I'm the last person to ask if one should believe something or not. Believe what the fuck you want to believe. I don't believe in God, a disembodied spirit that lives somewhere outside of the world or whatever. I believe in the mother of the earth, a disembodied spirit that happens to inhabit the earth. So I'm certainly not one to judge. Oh, an individual's choices. Right. So, final thoughts?
Yeah, I have one. So Brandon said something a couple minutes ago about like whenever we see or don't see the impact that we have on people. And um, yeah, sometimes it can be really difficult whenever we don't see that or don't see it for a while. And it seems like it kind of comes in waves, like where, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm a voice crying out in the wilderness or something. Um, but in the last 2 weeks, I've had a couple of interactions that were very encouraging and um, made me feel like the stories I share and the poems I write actually matter. The first one of those, um, I'm in a number of different like groups on Zuckerberg's app, and um, in one of the like political memes groups, I had shared some like memes about political issues related to trans people um and just kind of put it out there that like people in the group, if you want to know about us, then talk to one of us, right? And I didn't think anyone would ever like really take me up on that, but I ended up getting a DM from a mom in distress because um her 18-year-old um had come out as a trans woman, and mom initially didn't handle it well. And um so the kid came out at 17, but is 18 now. But like, so she ended up running away from home, and um so the mom was like, I since my kid ran away, like I've done all of this soul searching and like I want to repair this relationship, and I've been trying to learn about um trans issues, and so I can support her and know what she's facing and everything. And so um I had a really good conversation with her and have continued to have like follow-up conversations with her that you know she knows, and she admitted that she made some um wrong choices and said some wrong things as the parent figure. um but I let her ask whatever questions she wanted, and I answered her questions, and I reminded her that there's hope that she can repair this her relationship with her daughter, um and also the like real talk of that's going to take time. You can't just say, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm better now, but like there is hope. And even if her daughter chooses um to continue being no contact, like they do have like an intermediate inter whatever that the word I'm trying to say.
Intermediary.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, so there is someone who is like fulfilling that role in the relationship. And so, the mom can do some things to be supportive even if like the social dynamic isn't there. Um, so yeah, that was really encouraging for me, that like me living my life and me being as open as I am about who I am matters. So,
Oh, that's certainly a powerful thought. Brandon?
I would say just simply try to find your purpose and try to make a positive difference.
I agree with that sentiment in its entirety.
Mhm.
All right, so who's going to do the next one? Who's going to do Friday?
Is it me?
Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
Am I next?
Yeah.
You're next.
Well, I have 2 different topics I've been thinking about, so I'm ready.
Ooh. Can you give a preview?
One of them is I've been thinking about SAD, seasonal affect disorder,
Okay. Yeah, that's a
since
big.
we're
Yeah.
we're heading into that season.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be appropriate to bring up sometime soon.
Yeah.
And then the other one I was just thinking about recently with talking about the movies and everything about, especially seeing some of these queer horror movies. They are truly horrible. But movies, kind of movies in general, and the kind of negative light they put members of the queer community in
Yeah.
some ways,
Oh God, yeah. That means we get to talk about the kiss of the Spider Woman.
Oh, the Kiss of the Spider Woman. Is that
Yeah.
is that one that just came out?
No. Kiss the Spider
Oh,
Woman that's a like late 80s, early 90s movie, and Raul Julia is in it.
oh yeah.
So it's an early Raul Julia film, and
Okay.
so it's a painful movie to watch. It really is. But John Hurt, Raul Julia, and I forget the other guy that's in it. But anyway, but it does not paint gay people in a positive light. Kind of in the same way that The Crying Game paints trans people in not a positive way. So there's a whole slew of those films that we can talk about that, oh, this or that. Hell, for that matter, the Michael Caine movie, License to Kill, is also, even though Michael Caine is dressed up as a very convincing woman in that movie, is also not particularly kind to the community. Yeah, I got an entire list. We could definitely talk about bad coding in media about queer people. And there's a discussion there, certainly.
Yeah. So there you go. There are a couple of options I was just thinking about.
Okay, well, I'm with you 100% then. Whatever you want to do, Brandon. Um, let me get my shameful promotion for everybody.
And that will be on Friday at
Yeah,
noon Central, correct?
yes, at noon Central. Don't be late this time, honey.
I was on time today, wasn't I?
Yes.
Well, I tried to
You were.
join on time. Something happened. I don't know what was going on. Sometimes I try to join and the screen is just completely blank, and then I have to get the other invitation, and then it works. But today my screen has been going dark. I have to keep reaching over and touching the screen because it's kind of fading. I don't know what's up with that.
Have to touch it.
I have to touch it. I have to touch it to wake it up.
Only stacked. This is only stacked. Actually, I was a cami earlier, and I actually considered just wearing my camisole with my skirt for the live, and then I thought, No, because I'd lean over and I'd flash boob, and people wouldn't like that. Pornography, I don't know if you saw my post. Pornography is implicitly not allowed on Substack, but everything else is.
But there's sure a lot of nudity.
Yeah, yeah. So there's transphobia, homophobia, hate language, hate speech, racist speech. All of that shit is allowed on Substack, and it doesn't matter how often you report it, it'll still
Yep.
be. I mean, Curtis Yarvin has a Substack account, for Christ's sake. That should tell you something. So I'm actually shocked that I've been on Substack for a year, and I'm shocked that I've never received a message from a Kiwi Farms account. Of course, I say that now and it'll happen, but Brandon knows about Kiwi Farms, right, Brandon?
I don't.
Yeah, so Kiwi Farms is a organization, trolling organization. It's dead, Yanni, but there's still people that use Kiwi Farms' name to troll people. But basically, Kiwi Farms was an organization who predicated the eradication of all trans people, and they would, and literally they would use every kind of language difference and variation to say to people in social spaces, "I want you to kill yourself," so that it couldn't get banned or whatever. So Kiwi Farms is a
they specialized in like making up new slurs.
yes.
Once a slur would get banned by a network. So
They'd find another way to say the same slur that would not get filtered out by
yeah. So the organization doesn't exist in the same way now, but like the same people are still doing the same shit because they don't have lives.
Oh no. Kiwi Farms is still on the .st domain.
Oh, okay.
Then here's a valuable lesson. Anything that ends with a .st, that's the old Soviet Union domain, and it is largely unpoliced. So Bridge Forums is on an SC domain. Kiwi Farms is on a .st domain. And so the .st domain space is very Wild West. And it is very underbelly of the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still out there. But it was a web forum that facilitated the discussion and harassment and ultimate killing, either by trolling, stalking, or doxing all trans and queer people. They were they were very well known for their harassment, regardless. So, Kiwi Farms shouldn't be allowed on Substack, and Substack would never moderate it. So that's why a lot of people consider Substack fair. Anyway, Brandon, thank you both. I await your topic on Friday, Brandon. I can't wait.
With bated breath, right?
I'll wear a pearl necklace, a fresh pearl necklace, so that I can clutch it.
Yeah, you might need to.
Although, could you really clutch a fresh pearl necklace? I don't think so.
I've never worn one, so I don't really know.
Really? Okay.
Not real pearls, no.
I'm just waiting for the innuendo to finally hit Brandon and him realize what the fuck I'm talking about.
Oh.
I love you, Brandon, very much.
Oh.
All right.
All right. See y'all
Yep.
Friday.
Be safe out
See
there.
you later.